My colleagues Aditya Rajkal and Gauri Dwivedi are joining us from Ground Zero. Gauri and Aditya, tell us how important and significant is this summit, because clearly this would have been a regular summit considering, the Prime Minister has always sort of attended it. There's been an interest, but in 2024 we did see that he didn't attend it, but he did send Dr. S. Jaishankar there. But given the whole geopolitical landscape that has been seeing these turbulence with Trump tariffs and, with countries like Russia and Iran wanting to make this SEO into a symbol of resistance, where do you think India is going to be? How is India going to balance this and also send across the right message?
Vasudha, what you are saying is extremely significant. Also, what you said in terms of India joins this summit this time, and which is why it is so significant. You take away Prime Minister Modi's presence from here and it becomes a regular SCO summit simply because there are just so many plays that are here, all because of New Delhi. Now, the one thing that you mentioned about how SCO is or wants or aspires to be an anti-Western bloc, the only democracy in the entire SCO club is actually India. India is the only thriving democracy here, the only one that actually upholds the rule of law as probably the best as compared to any other, and also the only one which is a member of the Quad, but at the same time also a member of SCO, wants to be part of supply chains that are resilient to any China shocks, but at the same time also understands that given the Trump tariffs that are coming in right now, it will have to leverage its multiple plays right now. So to that effect, this summit is extremely significant. India has always maintained that it has strategic autonomy and it will always ensure that its interests are primary, which means that we will continue to buy Russian oil if it serves our national interests, if it serves our energy needs. We will engage with China, but as far as critical minerals are concerned, as far as fertilizers are concerned, and will also ensure that talks related to the national security concerns are also happening parallelly. So this is a very important summit. There are several important aspects that are at play simultaneously, trade being one, the geopolitical headwinds being another, given the fact that Trump comes up and his administration comes up with yet another objective to define India, even as he and his administration are limiting the scope that they have to reach out to India to negotiate further. But all in all eyes on Prime Minister Modi ahead of his visit, which is going to start very shortly. He will be here in Tianjin in the next couple of hours. Right behind me is the hotel where Prime Minister Modi will arrive and will be greeted by a very large, vibrant diaspora that is waiting to see the Prime Minister after 7 long years.
Right. Also, Gauri and Aditya, tell us, how is it being in Tianjin? Where is this place exactly? Is it very far from Beijing? Tell us, what is the mood like there? All of us have such huge curiosity about China because there's so little that we know about this country. Tell us, what is the mood like? How are you feeling? How was the transit to this place?
Well, Tianjin is very close to Beijing, Vasudha. This is just about 30 minutes drive out of Beijing. It's been silent more so because we've been traveling all the roads. There are blockades, and in a way, probably because of the high, level of dignitaries and delegations that are arriving in, there's mostly, almost like curfew-like situation here. So in a few hours from now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be arriving here. We are standing by outside the hotel where he would be greeted and welcomed by the Indian diaspora. There's a huge, excitement within the diaspora who are looking forward to interact with the Prime Minister when he arrives here immediately. But as Gauri was pointing out, tomorrow and day after are the big talking points, not just about the bilaterals between Xi Jinping and Modi, and thereafter, with Modi and Putin, but also the SCO summit in itself, because India's push against terrorism and, at a time when tariffs have been slapped against India, Russia, China, and India have been coming close like never before. So while Trump may go on bullying New Delhi, Washington, D.C. may continue the rhetoric against India, but the reality remains that India has robust partnership with Russia, China, several other countries, and will be pushing in for connectivity, trade, and measures to be taken when security is really concerned. This is also an important forum because Pakistan, Turkey, and other crucial countries are a part of this SCO meeting. And the final declaration that comes out perhaps later in the day tomorrow will be clear as to how India was able to impress upon the SCO to condemn terrorism, cross-border terrorism, and any kind of security threats from a neighboring nation. At the same time, you would know, Vasudha, how China had been a part of, the equipments that were used by the Pakistani terrorists of Lashkar-e-Toiba and TRF in the Pahalgam terror attack. So that's why, there's a big concern in New Delhi, and there's been a trust deficit as well. So while China and India are trying to, reimagine their ties, and, the top-level meetings will certainly help to push us towards that positive trajectory.
Right.
The reality as of now does remain that there's still lacks trust between these two countries, and there's much more diplomatically and otherwise that needs to be done for trust to reignite in this diplomacy. But certainly, India's top priority remains counter-terrorism, remains that China and several other countries come and condemn Pakistan-sponsored terrorism at the level of the SCO.
Right. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you, Gauri. But quickly, Gauri, also help us understand what is going to be the impact on Indian economy, because taking off from what Aditya said, there's a trust deficit, but there's also a deficit that we share with China in terms of economy and the markets, the kind of Chinese products crowding our Indian markets has always been a concern. Are there any indications as to what could be the major announcements that could be coming up in the next 2 days?
Vasudha, that really sums up our relationship with China. On one end, there is a thriving trade relationship, but it's tilted towards China. We run a very large trade deficit with China, and it has only been increasing in the last couple of years. And the reason for that is that as far as global supply chains are concerned, China is intrinsically linked, which is why the trade deficit grows as we grow our economy as well. That's one side of it. Already in that, because of the tensions that were prevailing post Operation Sindoor, post Pahalgam, there was also a freeze that China had unofficially put, which was related to critical minerals and fertilizers. Some of those freezes and some of those thaw was actually took place during Foreign Minister Wang Yi's visit last month. In fact, early this month itself, when he set the stage for how India and China could work together more in terms of their economic partnership. But the long-term goal, Vasudha, continues to be that India needs to be a larger player in the global supply chains. We need to reduce our dependence to China. And that could probably, I think the reason for that essentially means that how India is pushing ahead with respect to PLI and its own manufacturing ambitions. But that's a long-term goal. In the immediate, trade is an issue where it is imbalanced enough against us. And that's something that continues to remain a concern. Even as trade grows, if the deficit remains steady and doesn't increase in the same percentage, that itself should be a positive for India and Indian policymakers.